I'm here. The only thing I really know about Odessa is like several years ago I watched this movie about your football team. And we were going to see it and I get really attached to it, and then it's kind of at the end, the guy falls just short of the goal line and the team loses, which is not that out of the ordinary, but then it pops up, it does something weird, it pops up this text on the screen that's like Odessa won the state championship the next year. What the fuck? Why did they make a movie about that team? I gotta spend 90 minutes with these fucking losers? What movie does that? What movie just ends and pops up text is like, oh, by the way, the interesting thing happened later. Totally did. I guess the passion kind of did that. Like, I know it's a rough joke, but come on. Like, this is just a stuffed film. You know, like, he totally got up 3 days later. Why'd you put that in the movie? It's just Saul with the crucifix is what I watched. And that's how I felt about Friday Night Lights. Just a stuffed movie. But in all sincerity, I am happy to be here. I'm happy to tell you guys jokes. I did comedy when I was younger. Took some time off, started doing adult relationships, adult jobs. My last relationship, I was with a very lovely young lady. We thought we were going to get married, and unfortunately she got diagnosed with a terminal illness, and I just could not take her bullshit for another 8 to 11 months. She was such a negative person. I don't care what those tests said. Positivity was not in her strong suit. And if I'm being honest, guys, she was a little bit lazy. Like, I love a good day in bed as much as the next guy. But goddamn. She used to, sexually was another thing. She was really into BDSM. And that worried me because I wore Velcro shoes a lot as a kid. And quite frankly, I didn't really understand it. I was like, what do you do if the girl gets away? And she said, oh, sweetie, don't worry, I'd never run away from you. And I'm like, that's really sweet, but you're in a wheelchair, so it doesn't really count. Dating a girl in a wheelchair was kind of rough because I'm a techie. I'm like, bitch, you think surge protectors grow on trees? Like, I need my outlets, you know? I took her to a rock and roll concert, which honestly was just a rock concert, but I forgot to put on the brake. I'm joking, guys. She broke up with me. She left me for a spin class instructor. She was like, oh, he's going places. Like, really? Those bikes only have one wheel. My car has 3.5. What are you doing? So I got back on the dating scene. I signed up for all the apps. And I'm going to tell you guys a story, true story. One day I get a message from this really gorgeous girl, way out of my league. Just solid 9 out of 10. And we're hitting it off. She's nerdy. We're talking about deep nerdy shit. We're having a great conversation, and she says, you know, look, I don't normally do this, but I would love to meet up for dinner if you're free tonight. So I said, yeah. Naturally, I said, yes. I want to go out to dinner with this beautiful girl. And she says something weird. She goes, I want to double check and make sure you read my profile. And I was like, of course. You know what I look like? Guy that just looks at your pictures and moves on? So of course I read your profile. So she said, cool, we planned the date. I'm getting ready for it. I'm like, fuck, I better go read this profile. And I click on it right at the top. It says, all caps, I am a pre-op, male to female transgender person. I got a little nervous. I'm like, listen guys, I don't have any problem with transgender. I think they should be treated with dignity and respect. However, I have to ignore my own dick all the time because it gets me into trouble. I'm not going to bring in a second dick that I'm meant to ignore in this equation. Like, that's a recipe for disaster. But at this point, we're past the point of return. So I was like, whatever. We've been getting along. I can have a friend. I can have dinner with anybody. So we go out to dinner. And I'm not going to lie with you guys. Dinner was a little awkward, but not nearly as awkward as breakfast the next day. It was not a good breakfast. I gotta tell you guys, those eggs were the second worst thing I ever put in my mouth. So I'm gonna tell you guys another story. This is a story about when I got in trouble last year. And I got in trouble because I have a pretty decent job. And I have a decent job after a long, long time of having nothing but shit jobs. And one thing they don't really prepare you for is how much your life changed when you go from the shitty job to the good job. Like whole new parts of the world open up to you. Things like paying for every movie that you go see. You take a girl out to dinner, the entire Wendy's menu is in play. Like you're no longer restricted to this little box in the corner. But there was one thing about shitty jobs I really loved is that every year you could go to H&R Block and they would just give you free money. I have no idea how that place is in business. They'll just give you free money. Every year you go in, they give you, you say you want a check or a card. If you take the card, you get less free money, but you get it quicker, so obviously you always get that card. So fast forward to now I have a good job. I'm excited. I'm gonna go to H&R Block, go down the block, fucking get my free money. And this woman looks at me and she goes, "How would you like to pay for this?" What? She goes, "Oh, this is the amount that you owe." And I was like, "Oh, honey, you must be new here. That's not how H&R Block works. You guys give me the money." So she rambles off a bunch of nonsense. And I'm dealing with a friend, and I was like, "Dude, H&R Block fucking sucks now." And he whispers like he's like doing some sort of drug test. He's like, "Man, you gotta try this thing called TurboTax." So I get on TurboTax, and TurboTax doesn't have a crotchety old woman to tell you. TurboTax is like, you can just click checking boxes until you get that perfect utopia. TurboTax is like, "Hey, would you like some credit for your farm?" And I'm like looking at the mint plants on my windowsill, like, "Yes, I would." So I get my free money, and I think life is good. Fast forward one day, I get a letter in the mail, and it says, "Dear Mr. Blevins, do you think that we're fucking stupid? Yours truly, the Internal Revenue Service." So I wrote them back. I said, "Dear IRS, yeah." So they sent me this other letter. It's like, "Okay, well now you're being audited." And they sent me this whole packet. It's like, here's what you can expect during an audit. It read like a fucking Pepto commercial. It's like heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea. And I was like, okay. I was like, this is clearly just an attempt to intimidate me. You know, I laughed at it because the IRS didn't expect one thing. When you use TurboTax, you can buy this thing called audit protection. And I've seen enough mafia movies to know that when you pay for protection, somebody tries to put the squeeze on you, it's not going to go their way. So I'm not worried about the IRS. I call up the audit protection people, and immediately I start getting scolded. It's like, she's like, "Oh, Mr. Blevins, this is so bad. You deduct 85% of your income. This is impossible." I was like, "Woman, that's not impossible. Because I fucking did it." They didn't appreciate it, but I paid you people $50, so fix it. So she starts freaking out on me. She's like, "I need all your tax documents, all your proof, all your receipts. I need everything from 2015. And I was like, "Woman, I misplaced a sandwich 10 minutes ago. I made it. I never left this room. I think it must be with my tax documents for 2015. So now I'm freaking out. Now the intimidation stuff's getting to me. I start having weird thoughts, about going to jail. I ask my friends weird questions. I'm like, "Hell, bro, on a scale of 1 to 10, how rapeable do I look?" But I have good friends that care about my self-esteem. So, 7. I like you. They're like, "10, bro, is that a new shirt? You're the rapeliest dude I've ever seen." So like now I'm just like freaking the fuck out. I'm gonna go to jail. So I start watching like all these TV shows and movies to get ready. I'm like, I gotta get ready for jail. I started watching Scared Straight. It kind of settled me down a little bit because I was like, maybe at least I could get one of those like cool prisoner jobs, like scaring kids. You know those guys? They never quite know what to do with their hands, so they're always like rubbing their chest and shit. They're like, "Listen, man, you ain't ready for fucking prison, yo. Listen, I deducted my comic books as a business expense, bitch. You can't handle this world." But very fortunately, the government is very slow, so I was able to pay them back with last year's tax return. So I don't really have a segue for this one. I was reading the news the other day, and I read the most amazing story. Like any good story, it begins with a man masturbating. This particular man decided to relieve himself on a bunch of flutes. It gets worse. The flutes were then distributed to school children across 3 districts. Now, what small child called him out? What little kid was like, yo, this flute tastes like cum? Like, smell is 90% taste. Who can identify that? Like, let me try your flute. That's fucking cum too, dude. Y'all pull back on the cum flute story. Usually that kills. Dallas loves that story. Y'all can't handle the cum flutes. I was thinking, like, because it's the flutes, it's messed up, you know. I was like, was there, but the question I asked myself was, is there an acceptable instrument that that story would have been kind of funny? Like, any woodwinds is pretty bad, but I was thinking maybe turntables, because let's be honest, DJs kind of deserve it. I read another story, and it made me think, you know, the grass is always greener on the other side. So I read this story about this family. They had, I think it was 6 kids that were literally kept chained in the basement. They would only be let out to go do yard work and for yearly trips to Disneyland. And my first reaction was, what the fuck? I've never been to Disneyland. Like, how bad are my parents? So I was talking about relationship stuff. I had a new girlfriend now, and we've been together for a few months. You're right not to applaud, because I didn't ask for this girlfriend. I was hooked up by my friends. Any single people here? Woo! Yeah. Anybody ever been hooked up by your friends? No, because it's the fucking worst, so be glad this has never happened to you. I can't get rid of this girl, because I know that my friends will come over to like watch the game or some shit, and they're nosy. They'll start going through the cabinets and come up asking me weird questions like, so, Blake, what happened to that Amanda we got you? I have to like tell them, like, guys, I love that Amanda so much. I really did. And it's just like, she didn't go with any of the furniture, the closet space was a concern. And her head game wasn't very good. But you can't break up with a girl once your friends hook up with her. You have 2 choices. You either marry that girl, kiss that friendship goodbye. And this is why I'm coming up with an invention. I see a tip jar, but I also have a Kickstarter. And I'm creating a car that's a 3-seater car. Naturally, it's called the third wheel. And this is for single people that want to fucking stay this way, but still go out with their married friends. And it's going to have kind of like a pod system where you can sit in the front, your friends can sit in the back. And I'm going to include features that the married couples will enjoy, like separate music systems. Because I've noticed that once men get married, their music taste changes. And yeah, for me personally, I really like protest music. I don't really care what it is. As long as the message is fuck something, you know? Fuck the president, fuck the war, fuck CBS's loyalty rewards program. Like, I can get behind that idea. Then married men are like, I like music that makes me, like, reminds me how much I love coffee. Something that just lulls me into a sense of security. They're like, oh, maybe we should make more people. We need more of those. And the feature I think married people will like the most is it's going to have a voice warning system for when you're speeding. And it's going to say, hey, wow, it's a little nagging. It'll say, hey, why don't you settle down? You're past 30. All right, guys, you've been awesome. Thank you for having me. Woo!
Keep it